Gather, veterans. It's time to join the fight. The long war begins.
This is The Long War. I'm Rob Baer, and joining me once again are my partners in crime, Kenny Boucher, Wyatt Turk, and special guest, Steven from Xenos Petting Zoo. What's up, guys?
Yo, dog, great to be here.
Yo, what's up?
Hey, guys.
So I know Steven's. Thank you for joining us. I know we're on a bit of a time crunch tonight, but I do want to. You're not in on this joke, but it finally happened today. I shared it with Kenny and Wyatt. I got a ad notice, or I got a policy violation notice from Google. Guess what it was about?
Adult content. Title.
What was Wyatt's guess?
A clickbait title.
No, they don't care about that.
Oh, damn. Okay.
So it finally happened. Google, and hold on, I need to get the actual documentation here. So Google sent me a warning. They're like, hey, we stopped serving ads on this one page for sexual content. And I'm like,
oh yeah, I see the title now.
That doesn't sound like anything I do, but all right, Google, what page is it? And they're like, check it out. And so I'm just going to read the page title. The page title was Torso Extensions Make Dominus Knights Bigger.
I mean, extension, dominus, bigger, all in one sentence. Yeah, you got popped.
I gotcha.
I'm sorry, guys.
They gotcha.
It happened.
Oh my God. So we're gonna have an interview with Steven here in a bit. He's not gonna be there through all of our news segments and everything, but I think he's the right kind of guy to have involved on a Wyatt's Would You Rather. So let's just jump right into it. Roll out to Wyatt's Cave of Wonders and touch nothing but the lamp.
Got it. Would you rather have a car that is a transformer or a Pokemon as a pet?
Do I get to pick the transformer or the Pokemon?
So the transformer, it's not like a main cast. It's just like it's a transformer of your car.
Like
so in Kenny's case, it would be like a Ford Ranger. But yes, you get to pick the Pokemon.
Does my Pokemon, does he enjoy being in a Pokeball? Because, some of them can get, like, you're talking like Pikachu. He doesn't want to be in there. He's around all the time. Or is cool with some downtime in his Pokeball?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say so. I'd say same game mechanic when you catch a Pokemon, it's going to have a personality. I forget what the actual game term, but they could be happy or grumpy or shy or whatever that might be, right? So same game terms, random roll of the dice on that. But I think for the most part, other than that one instance, most Pokemon are cool beating their Pokeballs.
Am I locked into my Transformer for life? Right now, since I own a Ford Ranger, it's always the Ford Ranger Transformer, no matter what other car I buy in the future.
Yeah.
Here's the pressing question. Pokemon are all over the place in size, right? We're talking anything from a Pikachu to a Gyarados dragon.
Do I get a Gyarados in his final form, or do I have to get a Magikarp first?
Right.
You get to pick the Pokemon.
So I get to pick what evolutionary train.
Yeah, you can just pick whatever Pokemon you want.
Oh, dude,
I'm gonna say a Gyarados is pretty enticing.
We're gonna keep it though. It's a thing.
But you said he's down with your Pokeball. He's cool with the Pokeball.
Yeah.
If I live in an apartment, I can have my Gyarados on the shelf in his Pokeball, and then I take it for a walk in the evening time and just unleash my Gyarados on society for a little while, right?
Yeah.
Now, is Gyarados down with me, even though we have no history, or is he because
it would be as if you caught him,
and I have to still train him to be friends with me and stuff like that?
Yeah, you gotta train your Pokemon, dude.
That can be a rough bonding.
Yeah, I would say that might be a little.
You gotta train a dog. You gotta train. Gotta make sure your cat goes in the litter box. That sort of thing.
Okay. Do any Pokemon have the ability to make gold, alchemy style?
I don't think so. No.
Meowth likes gold.
So you can track it down. I think I'm a solid Pokemon here.
And what Pokemon would it be?
I want the first thing that hit me was something that can fly, that I could, like, you think about the movie of Pokemon, right? He's riding a Gyarados. You could ride several different dragon Pokemon. I'm like, dude, who needs aircraft? Who needs commercial airlines anymore?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to Motor City Mayhem. I'm going on my Gyarados. Like,
I mean, you could do the same thing with Transformers, though. You could get, because they're like completely out of scale, like Astro Train transforms and you can like fit all the Decepticons inside of them somehow. And you just fly places.
But then where do I store him?
I don't think any of
the
car Pokemon, I mean, like, any of the car Transformers fly, do they?
I think they can't they just fly? I don't know.
I mean, you're literally the Transformer expert, Doug. You tell me. Does fucking
It seems like
Optimus
they can
Prime
fly when they need to. I don't know.
But we're getting like second cast. We're getting like, I'm getting like hillbilly Bumblebee Ford Ranger. You know how in the movies, Bumblebee talks through like the radio because he doesn't have a voice box? Mine is going to be exactly the same way, but he can only talk through like hillbilly country music.
Oh, like Mater from Cars.
It's going to be awful. As much as I want a Transformer truck, I just know it's going to be the most annoying thing that ever happens to me. Like, so
yeah, but the Transformer will just do his own thing, though.
Yeah, but I need to go places, man. If he does my bidding, yeah. Like, I mean, hey, man, I need to go like help my friend move. Can you just do that for me? Like, if he's down to do that shit, and, like, follow my orders. Like, if I'm like Optimus Prime to him, then yeah.
What's the mission? What's the mission parameters of the Transformer, Wyatt?
What do you mean?
Like, is he just like gonna do stuff, or is he just gonna stand around?
Like, he's like your buddy, you know.
So he's ride or die.
I mean, what do the Transformers do when their human friend is like just hanging out?
Oh, they're like driving him around and like, you know, going on hikes.
Are there any other Transformers on Earth, or is mine the only one?
Oh, that's a hard question. I feel like yours would be of a small few. Like, I don't think it would be like every car becomes a Transformer. It would just so happen that your car is a Transformer.
Transformers exist now. Got it.
Yeah, there might be other Transformers.
So he might have other world-ending agendas that are more important to me occasionally.
Well, it depends if you get a Decepticon or not. He's always going
oh my god, I didn't even think of that. Ugh.
Yeah, he's going to be scheming if you get a Decepticon.
I mean, I like schemes as much as the next guy, but
he's going to be like stealing your power to make Energon.
Yeah, I ain't trying to like. I'm gonna look at my power bill in California and be like, "What the f, man?
Yeah,
fucked us, dude. We're done. We can't even afford like oil for your shit anymore, dude." Yeah, I'll pick a Pokemon. Yeah. Does Snorlax make everyone around him in an AOE spell fucking fall asleep?
Yeah, he just sleeps, doesn't he? He's just doing his own thing.
He doesn't.
No, that's Jigglypuff makes him fall asleep.
Who makes Jigglypuff makes people fall asleep?
Yeah.
No.
I'll train Jigglypuff up. I feel like I can make money off that.
Like, I'm going to open this clinic.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I'm totally robbing banks with that. I just like 100%. Like Jigglypuff, go in there, put them all to sleep.
Man, that's a creative mind, in my opinion. That's some creative genius. I'm gonna take this Jigglypuff and use it for infernal means to better myself.
Poor Jigglypuff. It's like so. Oh man, that's so messed up.
Yeah.
What if you got a benevolent Jigglypuff that just wants to do good by the world? You know, and be a solid.
I mean, I'm gonna train him up. I'm gonna have to manipulate him a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna have to talk him into some stuff and get him to see things my way. You know,
this is like I just think instantly the dichotomy between Mario and Wario. You know, kind of going on here. Like, you'd have a Wario Jigglypuff, man.
He might. He'll put you to sleep and leave.
I mean, that's a risk I'm willing to take. At least I'll get a nap out of it instead of a fucking $14 billion energy bill from a Decepticon Ford Ranger who can only talk about cars, trucks, and jail.
I feel like that's a stereotype.
Going bird Pokemon.
What about you, Rob?
I don't think I can roll the dice on getting a Decepticon. They're going to always be up to no good. So I think I'm going to have to go Pokemons.
Yep. 3-way Pokemon.
Yeah, Decepticon could be really bad.
That's right, Taco Grander. He's like, Cletus, the Ford Ranger. That's literally the name of my fucking Decepticon, guaranteed.
Maybe I'll get lucky and get an airplane transformer, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
Well, the Gen 1 ones could fly, I think. I don't know.
yeah, yours will turn into a cassette. Like it'll be a fucking full car
Yeah.
that turns into
Like-
just a cassette that you can't use anywhere.
Yeah, what is my purpose? Like,
Tight. Do you ever think about that too? Like it's just a little cassette laying on the table, and you're like,
yeah, you hide in plain sight.
does that cassette weigh as much as like a car? Like, what happened to all that mass? I mean, would it just smash through your desk?
I mean, dude, Transformers are more than meets the eye.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
true.
I mean, how's Megatron transform into a little gun for Soundwave to hold and then back into like the
Time
huge
Lord
robot?
technology, obviously.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah. Jigglypuff, Gyarados, and what Pokemon would you pick?
Oh, I didn't even think pick them. That's a way better deal.
Yeah, you said we can pick our Pokemon.
I'd have to pick one I could put to work. For sure.
Loki has like a Mr. Mime just doing like his yard work.
Just get like a Persian giant cat Pokemon. It'll keep the deer off your lawn.
That's classy. I
Guard my shit. King of the Jungle. That sounds like a good one.
I mean, doesn't Meowth actually talk though?
Only the one in the show. The
Only
other
that
Meowths
one?
can't talk. Yeah.
So only the
Bummer.
one that works for Red Rocket can talk. Okay, so never mind.
I feel like you'd always have money though.
Team Rocket.
God,
Yeah.
haven't thought about that.
He knows what he said.
He knows what he said.
All right. So lots of new releases if you are into Sigmar, I suppose. Some people are, some people aren't. I know it's a little divided out there, but it's a good time to be a Sigmar player. New models coming out for Sylvaneth and one for Skaven, and the Echoes of Doom box set for $195. We did the values breakdown on this one. It's got pretty good value, almost double. So if you want to split it with a friend, if you think about getting into Sigmar and Skaven are your thing, I won't lie, it's a little bit of an eclectic version of Skaven miniatures in this. They work well with the Deathmaster, which is the assassin that comes in there, the new one. And he's kind of cool because if you played fantasy back in the day, like the assassins would hide in blocks of dudes and you just kind of had to write down where he's at. And then he's like, surprise, bitches, here I am. And during the battle, kind of like fanatics do now, well, and still did back in the day, for the Gabos. But it's a cool set. There's some new Sylvaneth models, so $195 for that box set. And then if you're into 40K, we're finally getting the Combat Patrol for Custodes, along with the Gene Stealer Combat Patrol and the single releases of the Blade Champion and the Reductus Saboteur. The Saboteur is 35 and the Blade Champion is 38. So kind of something for everybody this week. Now I imagine if I had to guess, we're still seeing previews for Horus Heresy. I think today was the 9th Legion, which was Blood Angels. So we basically have at least 9 more days to go of previews for the Legions, and then we'll probably get into some rules previews. Long story short, GW always seems to put out box sets towards the middle of the month when people tend to spend more money. And with these larger, bigger releases, they tend to do a 2-week pre-order period, much like they did with Dominion and Indominus, a couple years prior. So if I had to guess, I would say we're going to see Horus Heresy towards the middle of June, and it'll probably be a 2-week pre-order period starting the first week of June. Just because the way they're doing previews, there's probably no way that they will actually put it on pre-order and have it come out for Memorial Day weekend, which is probably a good sign because they're probably happy with their financials and the way the company is going to finish out their year, because their fiscal year actually ends the end of May. So that's probably a good sign for Games Workshop. Well, all in on that. If you missed it, there's more Joy Toy figures. I know Wyatt got his Chaos in recently. How do you like them?
I got the Terminator for those watching us live.
Let's see it.
Oh, look at this chunky lad.
He is a chonker.
Look at this boy.
Cow.
Yeah, he's really cool. So I think we
like
talked about this last time when I got the Incursor. Right? I still have him on the table because I want to do a repaint on these guys. So the detail on these is actually quite good. Like as just it's casting, like there's not really mold lines or anything, which is really nice. The one thing I have a problem with is that in their out of the box state, they're a little loose in the joints. Like they're a little, like the joints, some joints are really tight. And I think that has to do with like the material, because some of the pieces are a harder kind of PVC plastic and some of them are a little bit softer, and where things are painted and where they're not painted. Because the way that these action figure companies get away with a lot of stuff is, for example, this Black Legion Terminator, it's just cast in black PVC plastic, and then they paint stuff on top of it.
That's what I figured. Yeah.
Right. And so some of the parts are painted and some of them aren't, and that leads to some looser joints. But when I repainted the Incursor, or actually did a paint job on it, and replaced the joint pieces, it tightened all that stuff up. And so that helped a little bit. So yeah, I think these are pretty cool. Like the paint job on them is like, it's okay. Like if you just want to have one to sit on your shelf, like it's perfectly fine. It's nothing to write home about, but it looks fine.
I think they're neat. I mean, I got this big thing. If you're watching live, I got the, let's see if I can grab it.
Oh my God. Yeah. You got the Invictor Warsuit. Oh my
It's
God.
an incredible feat of balancing.
The thing is huge.
Yeah. And these people just started to get these here in the States from some of the American sellers, but this is actually in his hand is a Primaris Marine.
It's so big for the people at home who can't see the scale. It's got a whole Primaris Marine in its hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
And there's a way he'll hold the gun too. I saw in the video, one of the presenters had it, but I haven't been able to do it. I actually took a screen cap of it to try to figure it out at some point. Yeah. But yeah, this thing is really neat, and they got a Furioso coming out, which I know a lot of Blood Angels fans are going to be happy about.
So I like these a lot over something like the McFarlane toys, because like, yes, the McFarlane toys do make an artist print, which comes unpainted in gray plastic. The problem I had with those is that the end result quality out of the box is a little bit lower, because you still have those like seam lines from the injection molding and stuff like that. And because it's made of a softer kind of action figure plastic, the only way to get rid of those is you have to physically slice them off with a really sharp knife, because they do not sand. That plastic doesn't sand. It just kind of like pills up on itself. It's somewhat fibrous. So with these, like, you don't have that finishing issue. And the other reason is that with the McFarlane one, you cannot fully disassemble that model. It has parts and pieces that when assembled, you cannot unassemble them without causing damage to the action figure. I actually called the McFarlane like helpline, and I was like, hey, so I bought this. Is there like a PDF or something you can send me for like how to disassemble this without breaking it? And they were like, nah, just parts of it are just there. Like, you have to either deal with it or break it. I didn't like that. And when doing a figure repaint like this, it's actually really important to break it down as much as possible so that you can fully paint and then varnish those pieces. Otherwise, that paint rubbing against paint will just like deteriorate and scrape off of there. So the Joy Toy ones are super great for if you want to do a repaint and have it look really awesome.
Yeah. So there'll be a lot of stuff coming out, and we have an article over on Spiky Bits where all the links are to some of the American sellers. There are a lot of Asian sellers that get the stuff a little early and are able to ship it out. Like, they're already pre-selling the Space Wolves that went on pre-order are on pre-order over in Asia, but they revealed them about 5 days ago. So some newer Space Wolves that are looking pretty good. So there's no shortage to Joy Toys. Maybe not as many Xenos as we'd like to see so far. or even Sisters of Battle, I suppose. But I would say at the rate that they're putting stuff out, we're going to see them sooner or later. So, and hopefully they'll be glorious, and we'll have some other models to pose fighting our Space Marines. There seems to be quite a few of. But either way, great looking models all the way around. There was a bit of a leak in, well, I guess a preview in the back of this month's White Dwarf that the World Eaters rules update is going to be in next month's White Dwarf. So they will be getting a little bit of an update to kind of hold people over, because obviously the Chaos Codex is coming out soonish. And
I imagine it'll be around the same time.
Maybe. I think Heresy might be the big thing next month. It might be more towards the end of the month. But either way, it's cool that they knew that there wouldn't be any World Eaters rules in the Chaos Codex, so they're trying to do people a solid. But if I had to guess, and I think we did a post on this, I don't know if it went live, but we haven't seen it. All we saw was like some renders of Axis for World Eaters. So if I had to guess, we're going to see World Eaters, like new models in their Codex itself, probably right around this time of 10th edition, if not slightly after 10th edition. So probably like mid to late fall or mid to fall 2023. Because it seems like they're following the same path that they did with Sisters. They're like, here's some pictures of some sister model renders. And then a year and a half later, here's the models.
So we'll see. I mean, I think the smart thing for them to have planned was that the White Dwarf release window is like a week after the Chaos Space Marine Codex. Because if you think about it, right, like, so if they plan this before,
it makes sense.
They plan this before, then that supplement is probably not going to be up to date with this new codex. They don't want any of that information getting out prior to that codex release, which would just be really fucking stupid, because that would kind of just make that whole holdover concept worthless. So it needs to come out after the codex comes out for it to really be a rules update, since World Eaters are not in the Chaos Space Marine Codex. So there's a smart way they could have done it. There's also a really dumb way they could have done it. So we'll see what happens.
So I agree with you, but in 2022, the current state of supply chain and now inflation and all those things, I think it's very hard for them to coordinate a worldwide publication release, which is already coming out early in non-US areas, with a model release as well. So what you're saying is a smart way, but I don't even know if that is on the table right now. You know what I'm saying? So like, I think it's cool the way that they're like, hey, we know this content isn't going to be in the Chaos Space Marine book, but we're still going to put it out there, right? So that people can get it and have a preview. They did the same thing with Sisters. Remember, they put Sisters, the beta rules, in the chapter approved of that year. I think it was 2018. Pretty sure it might have been 2019. But either way, before the Sisters Army box came out in the November of 2019, we had Sisters rules that people were playing and giving feedback on before they even shipped the codexes or put the information out to get printed. So I agree with you, but I'm not sure that we can kind of hold them to that sort of standard, you want to say?
See, I'm super cynical. Anytime it comes to stuff I'm actually passionate about, the Games Workshop releases, I'm so cynical, because if my expectations are low, I can't be disappointed. So I'm just going to assume that they're going to severely fuck this up. And then if they actually did a good job, then it'll be like, hey, this is nice. And if my cynicism pays off, then I'll be like, I expected this.
Okay, I lost her. I'll deal with that later. I agree. She has a little string and she likes.
Oh, she's mad now.
And she is mad because I'm not playing with her string, but I don't know where her string is. I think she ran off with it. What'd you do with it?
Well,
I know.
Oh, yeah.
I can't help you.
She probably wouldn't put it in her food bowl and is really mad that you don't go get up and get it.
Oh, no, look, it's in my bowl. I guess you'll have to feed me. Oh, no. Anyways, so that's the update on Heresy, World Eater, Marvel Crisis Protocol. Very soon we'll have 2 new expansions. Black, Super Giant and Black Swan. I forget. Either way, Thanos' crew and the Quinjet terrain piece, which doesn't have any rules, but it's really big and looks super dope. I think it's size X.
Did they preview 2 Asgardians?
Yeah.
Trying to blank on their names.
Thornadal, the
Heimdall and Scourge. Is that his name?
The dude with the axe, the executioner dude.
Behold my stuff. That guy.
Yeah. So there is plenty still coming down the road, and they got the card pack coming out with all the updated rules up to November. It would have been up to the November of 2020 releases, I think. Before X-Men came out, they basically redid all those cards. Yeah. Night Games has a Batman starter coming out, I think, on the 20th, which is tomorrow.
I saw that. They got some plastics finally.
So the stuff that comes in there isn't plastic in the starter. It's actually the Ceocast material. It's a new blend. That's very crisp. They showed it to me, and I was like, oh, that looks really good. And that was kind of my thing. I was like, man, the sculpts are great, but the cast and the material has been a little rough the past couple of years. And they're like, yeah, we know, we fixed it. This is going to be it. This is the big release here. And they're coming out of the gates. They're going to be doing a lot of things. So if you've been on the fence about Night Models, the Batman game, I think you should probably give it a chance, because from all indications and from what I've seen, the models look fresh and they're putting a lot of resources, and they've already done a lot behind the scenes, but they're putting a lot more into this release and this push on this game. So I think it's definitely going to be worth checking out for sure. And they've improved the distribution in the US. So chances are you could get it through your local game store, because they probably have a distribution account with one of the places that you can get it from in the States now. So be on the lookout for that. More as I know it, more as I can talk about it, because I'm not even sure what I'm can or cannot say at this point.
Gotcha.
It all kind of blurs together, but I have seen the actual minis. They do look fresh. So I'm very excited about that, because I actually enjoy the Batman game. But it was very hard to get a hold of here in the States in the past.
I've heard good things.
Yes, most definitely. So that's basically all that. It's not a huge tabletop market watch this week, because I think, everybody's getting kind of ready for the summer and stuff like that. But yeah, going to be some interesting stuff here in the near future, pretty much from everybody, as far as I can tell.
This may be a movie magic segment, and if you want to get the behind the scenes how this all went down, definitely check us out on Patreon. Doing things a little different tonight, guys. We have Steven from Xenos Petting Zoo on the line. We're going to do boots on the ground interview with Wyatt. Turn it over to him to lead us in a nice interview with this team leader of a quickly rising community.
Yeah, so thanks for being here, Steven. I've actually been wanting to get you on the podcast for a while, just because we've known each other for a little while from the tournament scene. And over the past year or so, XPZ has grown quite a bit. And when I had a chance to really sit down, talk to you, get to know you, and kind of, really become friends and learn everything that is behind XPZ, like it just made me happy. Like I really, really like the vibe and sort of the mission statement that XPZ has. And just like the overall goal of community building, I think is such a good thing for the event scene, the hobby scene, like everything all in general. So like, could you just give us a little bit of backstory on how XPZ like came to be?
Yeah, absolutely. Wyatt. Yeah. So first off, thank you very much, all you guys, for having me on. Appreciate it. It's one of those things where I'm excited about it. But yeah, so XPZ actually started as a small little a couple buddies on a Discord that had just gotten back into 40k. And from that point, post-pandemic, we kind of just grew, and that evolved, and it turned into something that was more geared towards competitive play. We all started going, and we built a community around it of just close friends and like-minded people. And that just snowballed, to give you the real kibbles and bits version. And it snowballed really fast. And then what ended up happening was everybody was so like-minded and started being having so much fun. And we played so often that those reps led to sharpened up a lot of the players to really high caliber players. And it's just been kind of rolling from there. The big thing about XPZ, Wyatt, my biggest thing is there's no exclusivity. I'm not one of those teams that's elite and you've got to be good and you got to have a name to get on our team. I'm not one of those people that scouts out people and you've got to, this guy's winning, doing well at super majors to be on the team. I ask everybody the same two questions, and it's, do you want to get better at competitive 40K and do you want to compete? And if they say yes to both of those things, then you have a home on my team. And then in addition to that, sportsmanship overall, we play all the time. We want to do the best we possibly can, but never at the expense of anybody across the table from us.
Yeah, that's such a great mentality. And end of last season, you actually invited me to be on the team, and I've met a big number of people on the team, and it's just been great. Like, we were kicking it at New Orleans Open. That was so much fun, and just haven't had an experience like that in competitive 40K before. It's just so refreshing to have all of that positivity and team camaraderie. And I think it just sets an example for more people. And like, there are a bunch of great teams out there, right? Like, don't get it twisted. But I think XPZ is just sort of, a great example of how to be and how to act. And that actually kind of segues into recent events, because a bunch of guys just went out to Motor City Mayhem, and there was a lot of crazy stuff going down, and it was a wild event. And our teammate Joel had one of the most exciting, like, 40K kind of like sports stories that we've ever heard. Like, do you want to give us the rundown on that?
Dude, that was one of the most epic things ever. A lot of people are talking about it, but basically, long story short, is one of our teammates, who's one of our local guys, and I've known him always to be very, very good, but he's not a name. We're a new team, so he doesn't have that much of that identity. So we fly all the way to the East Coast like we always do, and we go to compete and have some fun. Well, Joel's a very strong player playing a very good list, and essentially what happens is at day one, he plays his first round or two, then gets paired into former ITC champion or LVO champion, one of the two, Matt Root, and handily beats him. Then they pair him into randomly, he gets paired into Jack Harpster from Art of War. Very accomplished player. I don't have to even say anything about him. Takes him out. Then gets paired into round two of day two into Nick Nanavati himself. Takes Nick Nanavati out. Undefeated list at the time. The list had never lost since its inception. Nick personally told me that. And takes him out. Then he goes into round three and plays Ben Sherwin, who's a name you've heard all the time. And I think he's also a very accomplished Art of War or Frozen North gaming player. Takes him out. Final round of day three. Runs him into top table. This is already four very, very accomplished players with names, essentially being beaten by someone at the time who's a nobody. And then, so the last chance for Art of War, Brad Chester himself in the top 8 first round, playing another Hail of Doom list, very similar to Nick's. I don't need to speak on who Brad Chester is and how good he is. Joel takes him out, beats him, effectively taking everybody in Art of War out of contention to win the event. Pairs next round, round two, into one of our other players who's also a very high level, Kyle Perry and his Harlequins, takes him out and goes to a final top table against Charlie Andre to play in an intense game. And finally, at that point, what ended up happening is that Charlie was having some serious health issues. He literally had a savage nosebleed and was bleeding out of his face. He was pale and sweating and just really unwell. And there was a couple points in the game where it looked like he was, considering calling the game because of how badly he felt. And Joel, the way that I know Joel and the person that I know he is, he just opted, he could have just, at winning at all costs, he could have just clicked over and paused and put the time to Charlie and just essentially won on technicality. He could have also used Charlie's health in order to gain advantage over the game because he's not in the right mind state and just win. But that's not who Joel is. So what ended up happening is he chose to pause the clock and let Charlie collect himself, and they talked and helped it out. Which is, in my opinion, a great show of sportsmanship on our behalf, but also a show of endurance from Charlie. it takes a lot to buckle down when you're in that much of a health crisis. To find weight in a game. We love the game. It's a lot of significance to what we do, but it's at the end of the day, it's just a game. So, for him to buckle down and get a victory there was intense. So they both kind of came together as two good dudes, focused to play a hell of a game of Warhammer, and it shook out like a top table should within 2 points. And it was awesome. And from what I heard, nobody has any ill will towards anybody, and it turned out excellent, and, yeah. So that's kind of the skinny on what happened there.
Yeah, I mean,
wow.
Just watching that live and kind of keeping up with Joel's run, like what a schedule, right, to go through. And like, he's our teammate. We were having a good time. He's out there taking scalps, right? And I had a chance to actually interview Charlie the other day because there was I wasn't there. Some other people like weren't firsthand account there, and the casters like didn't necessarily know what was going on with this nosebleed situation, right? And I talked to him, and he had like what I assumed to be like a severe like kind of blood sugar crash because he hadn't really been eating too much because he was like just not feeling all that great to begin with.
Right.
He told me that he was recovering from COVID that he'd had like 2 weeks prior. And he just was like gonna pass out basically, and then had this nosebleed situation. Yeah. And he had nothing but nice things to say about Joel. Like he felt blessed that Joel was so cool because they actually called a medical stop to that game for like a half hour so he could like slam a Powerade and get some granola bars. And Joel was like, yeah, I'm cool. Like take 30 minutes out of the game. Like that's fine.
Right.
And then just an absolute paragon of representing what true sportsmanship and kind of maintaining the social contract that we're all supposed to maintain during these games, and like helped make sure that Charlie had a fair game.
Yeah.
Just like, what a great story.
It was epic. And, I saw Charlie with my own eyes. They don't let a lot of people up the way that Motor City is to kind of spectate the games. They don't want any sort of interference, but they would let up, and, maybe the captain of Frozen North popped up there. And I was able to see Charlie with my own eyes, and he was in bad shape, man. He was, like I said, he was visibly sweating, literally blood flowing from his face. Like he was in rough shape, man. He was like, at any point I could have seen, he could have called it, but he didn't. Like I said, that takes a lot of fortitude. And from that, it's like, that says a lot about a person to have the heart to do that and stay and buckle down and really just, make it happen. So I found a lot of respect for Charlie for being able to do that. And then in addition to that, I know Joel very well. I play him every week. It's probably my most, the person I play against the most. And I know that Joel would never be satisfied with a win because of a default. And I know that in himself. And then lastly, on our team, sportsmanship is not winning is not worth more than sportsmanship, and if cool, we could have said we won. I think the difference was like 4 ITC points in the all said and done. And, who cares? For us, I think that for both of them, they feel much more accomplished being able to play it all the way out. And for us, I as much as I want Joel to walk away and have an amazing time and win the whole thing, I don't want to do that at the expense of Charlie, feeling like he got beat down and then thrown to the wolves and kicked off to the side, in a top table game that he earned the right to be there just as much as anybody else. So that's kind of our mantra and what we try to do. And I think that we just strive to be the people that everyone rolls up to an event and you get paired into an XPZ team member and you're like, oh, this is going to be fun, cool.
Yeah, exactly.
At least we're out and have some fun. So that's what our mission statement is. And that's what we really want to do. And I think that was a testament. I think that the biggest thing was I got a lot of phone calls and I got a lot of messages and stuff like that with people saying, really happy about that and felt like that was a huge show of sportsmanship after what a lot of people called the hardest strength of schedule 40K has ever seen. Oh yeah. Like it was a wild run. So my last question for you is like, as somebody who has helped create a team like this, like helped build this community, and like you're not like the leader of the team, you're not like the king or whatever, right? But you are like a pillar of this team and somebody who has done a lot of work to build community. Like, what are some key tips or like some pieces of advice for people who want to build community in their local scene, or they want to try to build a team and like maintain that like high level of sportsmanship and team camaraderie? Yeah. Well, it's just a couple things. Like I said, the first thing, I think the biggest thing that I attribute our success to since inception has been the fact that we're not elite. Or exclusive rather. We are, I believe we are elite, but we're not exclusive. So if you want to be on my team, you don't have to be good. You don't have to be a somebody. You don't have to have a name or be established. Like I said, the same two questions are there for everybody. So that being said, I think that a lot of players think what they're doing is bringing in the most elite players to form the best team. But the problem with that is you miss out on the players that you're going to refine. That we've got a lot of players that weren't necessarily the best players. But then what ended up happening was they go to TNF, they get the reps, they play against a lot more high level players. And what ends up happening there is you mold and you end up, iron sharpens iron, so to speak. So you build elite players. And a lot of these guys are that way. I remember taking Joel to his first tournament, and it was awesome. And now look at him, and it was just a small shift in calibration. But I think some teams around here, if you would have been like, hey, can I be on your team? They would have been like, who are you? No. So I think the first thing is, don't forget that everybody started somewhere. We're not all just born amazingly great top level elite 40K players. It takes refining and teamwork and, coaching amongst one another to do it. That's the first thing. The second thing that I attribute to success for us in being the team that we are is the stuff outside of the game as well. The game is important, but at the end of the day, anybody can go anywhere and go play 40K and get your 9 games in and go home. But we try to really make amazing events around it and the stuff we do outside. So we don't just get hotel rooms. Our team always will go and get an Airbnb and we'll all house together and we'll have fun and we'll stock it with food and we'll have music going all the time and we'll have barbecues after the event and the whole team hangs out and anybody's welcome. We invite other teammates as well. And we just have a lot of fun. So I try to build a huge community and fun setup around it as well. And that's been a pinnacle because all of our events turn into, you've experienced it yourself. Oh, yeah. They're fun. They're super fun. And, so you go to the event, you look forward to doing the best you can at 40K, but say you don't do the best that day and some of your other teammates do, you still have an amazing event to look forward to. So that's something fun to do as well. And then on top of that, it's just, I think the last thing is our sportsmanship and just understanding that there's no ego on our team. It's not allowed, and I don't want you to run around and tout your wins or talk smack to anybody else. It's the opposite, be humble and have fun. And, just at the end of the day, we're playing a game. Like I said, my big thoughts is, I love this game. I take it serious. We built a lot on it. A lot of us do a lot of things with the game itself, but at the end of the day, it's a game. It's supposed to have fun, and I don't think that should ever be something that is okay to prioritize over somebody else's well-being or experience. And we really try to hold that to our core. And I was really happy because I feel like that was exemplified. You see on a top level, table of a super major with everything on the line, our player chose to forfeit a victory in order to make sure that his opponent was all right. And I say that
not even forfeit a victory. He chose to play the game in the parameters that him and his opponent agreed upon, so they would be the most maximized competitive experience for himself.
And and you could probably even say that he stuck in it because he was encouraged to, hey, no, hang in there. We're going to pause this, right?
And to the ideals of your community that you guys are all you guys boost each other up. And it's easy, I think, for a lot of people to take the easy way out. I think that's the path of least resistance for a lot of people. And I think that you see that a lot of the bigger teams, path of least resistance sometimes could be could be not really giving too much of a shit about the guy across the table for them outside of, cordial pleasantries and human talking and shit. But I think the ideals of your community encourage people to have that social interaction and care about invest in their time as well. And so, he didn't forfeit shit. He had the hardest schedule in the history of 40K and he didn't want to win the event because somebody was in pain. He wanted to play it and he lost because he got outplayed in the parameters that these two players established. That is amazing.
Exactly. And when I say forfeit, like I said, it's not taking anything away from anybody, but ultimately Joel lost. And, that's something that I feel like had he wanted to just take
he forfeited the easy way out.
Exactly. But to him, I think that he won in his mind anyways. And I think that we all feel that same way. I feel like, like I said, who cares about victory? They both were at the top table. The difference is 4 ITC points. At the end of the day, 2 stand-up guys had a stand-up time and it was a hell of a 40K game. And, something to be celebrated on every side. And it was awesome. It's almost better, because because Joel was able to go through that strength of schedule. Frozen North was able to get a dub, and now everyone's stoked, and it's cool. And then now there can even maybe, in my mind, because I'm a competitor and I love it, now maybe there could even be a little friendly rivalry where we see them smile, raise a beer and be like, let's see who gets it this time.
Let's get the rematch. How many times do you see that in boxing where it's like, oh, I lost that fight, Joe Rogan, because my arm, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, let's get that rematch when your arm doesn't hurt, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's do this thing. Let's fucking get some rivalry going. But also, let's plug just real quick. Like, again, if you're in San Diego or in Southern California, what's the best place to go and play and to get better at 40K?
As it is right now, here we are. We've got 10 tables going on. Every single time we're here, we try to bring food. Come to Onboard Gaming in Escondido, or jump in our Discord. You can check it on Instagram and then DM from there. We pair in games. We are geared towards competitive practice. So Onboard Gaming in Escondido is where you want to be.
Now let me ask you a question. So how many people in your team aren't even in Southern California that represent the ideals of Xenos Petting Zoo? Like, how many? You got people all over the place?
Yeah, we're regional now. I have a captain in Reno. The captain's a small team there. We have Vegas set up. That's also small. NorCal, we have a pretty big presence. I have a NorCal captain up there as well. And then we're starting to stand up Chicago. It just started. So that's going. The goal is to be a national team. I'm not limiting myself to San Diego our team's not limiting ourselves to any specific region. Eventually, like I said, it's not exclusive. So anybody that wants to be a part of it, in my opinion, the more the merrier. We're all gamers. The community's awesome and we're all going to have some fun.
Awesome, man. But yeah, so if anybody wants to check out the Discord, it's honestly the best community Discord that, I've ever been a part of. It's the best resource for talking about the game, bouncing ideas off of walls. Nothing is ever shot down. It's like, okay, well, let's talk about that idea, that kind of thing. Because too many times you'll go online or you'll try to be part of a Facebook group. And you're like, oh, I'm thinking about this for my Space Wolves or something. And people are like, it's trash. Don't even think about it. Blah, blah, blah. I don't being part of the XPZ stuff has been such a great experience and resource. So I definitely recommend hitting up the Xenos Petting Zoo Instagram, dropping a comment, sending a DM, asking in that Discord. It's a party.
Right on.
All right. Well, that's all I got. Do you guys have any questions for Steve before we get out of here?
Rob, you got a follow-up?
I do not have a follow-up.
All right, guys. Hey, thank you for having me. As you can see, we're about to get busy on TNF over here. I really appreciate it. I'm glad and grateful for it. And on behalf of Xenos Petting Zoo, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Steve.
Yeah, thanks for being on. So that's it for this one. For exclusive content and early access videos, head on over to thelongwar.net and become a veteran today.